What's up, guys? I'm Mike Lowe, and we're back here with our Pistons rebuild. If you missed episode 1, we went through the draft and we got Stephon Castle. Super excited about that at pick 5. Shout out to Austin on YouTube for the correction on the name. The draft class had his name as Cassell, so I'm not sure why that was. Must have been some sort of error with the upload. But nonetheless, we are through the draft and we're at free agency. There's a lot to talk about. I have a really big plan that I want to share with you, and I want to explore some of the ideas that I've seen pop up on YouTube as well, such as maybe bringing in the Thompson twins, which watching Lakers basketball says would be the best bang for your buck to have on the team together. So we're going to explore that and a lot more. Buckle up, guys. But before that, or anything else, including this free agency class that we're going to be exploring, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It's been so fun, the chatter on the YouTube channel. I love the ideas I'm seeing, and I just appreciate you all being here, so let's get into it. I'm going to start by exploring that idea I talked about a minute ago about reuniting the Thompson twins. Of course, we already have Ausar Thompson on the Pistons. This would be bringing Amen Thompson, his twin brother, to the team, and I think he's an awesome fit for Monty Williams' pace and space offense. Penetrating scorer. I love guys who can play defense. He's super athletic. Yeah, I'm all about it. I think this would be really cool if Houston could go for it. Here's the problem, guys. This is the only trade that they're willing to accept. And so while I wouldn't hate adding Steve Adams, and I have no problem giving up Quentin Grimes, they of course need something back, and that something is Cade Cunningham. So I don't know, maybe there's the argument for like, well, if we do re-explore the Cade Cunningham trade, if we can't get an extension done, yeah, this trade would maybe make some more sense with these expiring contracts here. But for now, it just doesn't make a ton of sense. I love the idea. It doesn't mean we can't do it eventually, but I think right now it's a no-no. So let's talk about my plan, starting with the salary cap breakdown. We're in pretty good shape financially. Cade Cunningham is going to need an extension. But other than that, we have quite a lot of money to work with. On the screen, you see 9 contracted players, but really we have 11 because we have cap holds for Simone Fontecchio and center James Wiseman. But I like what we have here. Again, is this a NBA championship caliber team? No, but I think we're in a really good place, and I think you guys will like the plan I'm going to show you here in just a few seconds. But Cunningham and Sasser at point guard, I like. I like Castle, Ivy, and Grimes all at shooting guard, even though Ivy, maybe on the trade block, we'll see. Ausar Thompson with Fontecchio, I like a lot. Isaiah Stewart, again, maybe kind of along with Ivy, maybe a trade block candidate here, especially with the contract, especially we'll see how free agency unfolds. And then I like Duren and Wiseman at center if we don't do something different at center, if Wiseman takes, like, say, a bigger contract. What I also like about it is we're able to stagger some of this pretty well. Let's say Stewart slash free agent has a 4-year deal. And I say that like if we sign another power forward, for instance, we could probably move Stewart. But let's just say 4-year deal here along with Castle. Let's say Cunningham's extension puts him at like a 5-year deal. And then you got Sasser at 3. You got Ivy and Thompson at 2. And so you have this really nice like staggering going on. I'm sorry, Thompson's at 3. So you'd have like a 2-year contract, a 3-year contract, 2 of those. And then you're looking at like 2 4-year contracts and a 5-year contract. So it creates a really nice staggering. So let's talk about free agency. There are a few different routes for free agency. We're not a very good team, so I was like, well, maybe we just kind of go small. There's no reason to, break the bank and this sort of thing. But then I started thinking, well, we have a lot of money. And we don't have a first-round draft pick, so if there's ever a year to try and win as many games as possible, it's right out the gate, and it would kind of negate that loss of the first-round draft pick, or at least maybe limit the pain from that. So long story short, guys, we're going after Pascal Siakam. We're going to go big on this guy, and let me show you the contract offer. So I've given him as much money as I can, as many years as I can. He favors a backloaded contract. And I'm even going to give him a player option because why the hell not? So we're all in. We're giving him as large of a contract as we can, and we're going to need it because the 76ers have given him the exact same contract, and they're a much better team and a much better position to win than we are. We'll see how important that is to him. But we got a shot. Pacers have given him a really nice offer as well, and so we're just going to have to see. But Pascal Siakam is plan A. We don't need to get crazy. We don't need to fill in every single hole right now. We're in the moratorium phase. And so even though there's players I really like Andre Drummond, bringing him back to the Pistons, not because he's a former Piston, but because I think he'd be a really good fit. And other power forwards who I think would fit the pace and space offense of Monty Williams really, really well, such as, where did he go? Javante Green is the guy, but he's got 0 offers right now. We don't need to rush and sign a 76 overall 30-year-old player. I like Precious a lot as well, but again, restricted free. Let's just see how it goes. We're going with Plan A. We're keeping it simple for now, but Plan A is pretty big. And if we land it, I really think it could turn us into a competitive team overnight. When you look at Pascal's breakdown, the guy can score from about anywhere. He's a great defender, which I'm really, really big on. I need guys who can play defense. I think his playmaking ability can take some of the pressure off Cade Cunningham. Of course, he can chip in on rebounding. I mean, yeah, he's 30, but even on a 4-year deal, he's still going to be good. There's still a lot of players here who are in this 34, 33 age range who are still really, really good players. And we have the cap space. There's no trade clause. We could always get out of this, but it's going to put us in a position to start winning right now. And that just makes a lot of sense for where we're at as a team. So we're about to go past day 1 of the moratorium, and we only have the offer on Siakam right now, but rest assured there are some other players I like. I like Drummond, as I mentioned, but we have Wiseman kind of sitting in the background there at center. Power forward, there's a few guys that I called out, but just a couple others. I do like Robert Covington. Again, these are kind of like role player things. That would be maybe on the cheap. Javante Green, I mentioned. And so there's just some players like that. Kyle Anderson is another one I think would be a good fit on the cheap. Small forward, I don't recall if there was anybody here. I don't think there was. At shooting guard, there was just, I think, maybe one player. I think Gary Harris could be just, again, a nice maybe role player, especially if we end up moving Ivy or something like that. So keeping an eye on him. Again, a lot of these players have 0 offers right now, so there's no reason to start rushing around and getting all freaked out. At point guard, again, we'd have to kind of free up a spot for this, but I do like John Wall. And I think Chris Dunn could be a really good fit too. So just some other players I'm keeping an eye on. But really, Plan A is just going for Pascal Siakam. And that's kind of what we're hoping and praying for. We're going to move past it now and just see. And otherwise, we'll have to go to Plan B. So let's see. He has accepted another offer. So that's a bummer. We did not get him. Looks like he signed with the 76ers. So that's okay. That could still change. I have seen where like players won't sign because the cap space gets all jacked up, or maybe they had other offers. I mean, this is why it's a moratorium period. Nothing, the ink has not been, not just dried, it has not been written yet. So no contracts have officially been signed. Things can still change, but as of now, it's looking like we're going to have to go to Plan B. Tentative offers around the league other than Siakam that we are keeping an eye on. Looks like Drummond and the Thunder have an agreement. John Wall and the Jazz. So still lots of options out there to explore. There's still a ton of really good players left in free agency here in day 2, but it's just not something that I'm willing to get desperate for. I mean, of course, DeRozan, a really nice player, but he's 34. That's a lot different on a 4-year deal than a 30-year-old. James Harden, of course, is just a Hall of Fame player, but these guys just really aren't fits exactly, especially with kind of what we have coming back. And I know it's silly because we weren't a very good team, but we're just going to play the patient game. That was Plan B. Plan A was very aggressive. Plan B, be a little bit patient and try to see what comes to us. And well, patience may have paid off because look who's back in the free agent list here on day 3 of the moratorium, Pascal Siakam. So apparently a deal did not get done with the 76ers, or they, I guess, revoked the offer or whatever it is. So yeah, we're going to put that same offer out there, see how it goes. Still a bit of an uphill battle for Siakam as the Pacers have a really nice offer on the table for him. So it's an extra $50 million for 1 more year. Yeah, it's going to be hard to compete with that. So we'll see. He's just going to have to like the Pistons more than the Pacers. But hey, it's 50% chance. It's better than the chance we had last time. And he has once again rejected the Pistons. Pascal Siakam has apparently, I'm guessing, signed with the Pacers. Let's see. He's back in free agency, though, on day 1. So he just cannot get a deal done. So, all right, let's keep trying. And actually, I haven't had to do anything because we are now sitting as the best option by quite a bit. And so unless he really wants to go play for the Lakers, which can't blame him, I guess, but they don't have LeBron James. That's a very different Lakers team. We're building something special here, Pascal. Come on. Come join the Pistons. We're going to make a really small trade to move Troy Brown's contract, and he's going to go to the Warriors. We're going to get their first-round pick in 2026. It may seem a little lopsided, but while I don't really see a ton of value for us in Troy Brown, he does have a B plus potential. So this isn't a crazy trade. I also have the trade slider up to like 80 for trade difficulty. So I don't know. It's a little bit wonky, but the AI uses it. I don't really negotiate outside of what they're offering, so I feel like this is fair. Reason we're doing this, well, we're going to free up a little bit of money here, which I'll explain in just a second. And so in freeing up that money, as we go and look at the offers again for Siakam, we've pretty much have this maxed out here. I could start to go a little bit lower, but I don't know. I really don't want to take the risk. And I'm hoping that, yeah, we're able to cut. So I had to free up 4 million. I kind of did this earlier. So he does sign with us, and I saw that a second ago, and I didn't adjust the offer, but I wasn't able to keep the both cap holds in place. Even though these guys aren't going to sign for, especially Wiseman, he's not going to sign with us for 24 million. I had to kind of keep that money freed up a little bit, and I was just short by about like 4 million or so. And so that's why I wanted to move Troy Brown. The long and short of it is we just picked up a first round pick, granted it's top 3 protected from Golden State, but still picked up a first round pick for 2026, which I think we have at least 2 of those now. And then we also get, of course, Pascal Siakam. So super excited about that. How the roster looks now with Siakam on the team. Still a couple trades I'm considering, possibly moving Isaiah Stewart now because he's at 15 million a year and he's coming off the bench. And Jaden Ivey as well. Just I don't think is really a fit for what we're trying to do here, but maybe right now we're under the cap and everything. We're going to have 11 players under contract once we get Wiseman and Fontecchio on the team. So we'll see. We'll see what else happens here in free agency. Right now, nothing is going to be happening with free agency because we have $2.5 million in cap room. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to kind of see. Again, those dollar amounts for Wiseman especially will come down, and that's going to help us. As far as looking at an Ivy trade now, really the only one that would make sense, and by making sense I mean trying to cut some of this salary, would be a 1-for-1 swap with Grady Dick. I'm just not sure if that's what I want to do. I mean, I would love to add in his three-point shooting ability, which would be really, really nice. But again, I like guys who can play defense, and he doesn't seem like he can all that much. So this isn't really a deal that moves the needle. I think I would still rather kind of ride with Jaden Ivey and just kind of see how things go for now. And when we shop Isaiah Stewart around, there's 3 offers that are intriguing to me. Here we could actually get our 25 first. I mean, Atlanta's going to be a pretty good team. I don't mind Bruno Fernandez, but he's just kind of a throw in there to cut some salary. It's kind of a pick swap when we look at the second round pick there as well. The Utah Jazz are offering us 2 first-round picks in 2027. They're rated at 1.5 stars, so that's not as exciting as it probably looks. And then the third option would be San Antonio, giving us, again, 2 first-round draft picks. But when I looked at the rosters, it didn't always make sense. But this trade with the Jazz does make some sense. I mean, if we look here at power forward for the Jazz and kind of where they're sitting, they only have Taylor Hendricks. And so there's just not a ton there, and I think, of course, it seems to make a lot of sense that they would want to go ahead and pick up an Isaiah Stewart. It makes total sense. Brings him kind of back to that West Coast region where he played college basketball. And, you know, this is not a salary dump. It's a little bit for us. I mean, the guy's 23. Still a really, really good player is Isaiah Stewart. He's just not really what I'm looking for, especially after signing Pascal. So to me, this is a deal. We'll take it. It's going to give us a lot of ammunition. We have like really nothing in the cupboard for the 2025 draft, but we have a lot of ammunition now that can help us maneuver back into that draft at some spots that we may want. So after all of those different trades, here's where we sit. Again, bare cupboard basically for 2025. That's really nothing. But 2 firsts in 2026. 3 firsts in 2027s, along with 2 seconds, and then it kind of goes back to normal from there. So again, ammunition to use to possibly move up. And even after signing Siakam, now we sit at about 17.5 million in cap room. Going through free agency now pretty quickly. I threw a $4.5 million player option 2-year deal at Chris Dunn. He rejected it. It's not a huge surprise there. Otherwise, nothing else happening. The only other plan I really have is I would like to bring in either Kyle Anderson, Javonte Green, or Robert Covington, maybe even 2 of them. Right now I've been kind of throwing Anderson like a 2-year minimum contract with the team option, just being really aggressive with it. He's rejected it both times, even though it says it's pending. He is rejecting these offers, but we'll see. As free agency goes on, he might end up accepting it. And just for those keeping score at home, Chris Dunn did sign with the 76ers. Just like that, free agency is done. On the last day, I did throw a couple of minimum salary offers at Gary Harris and Kyle Anderson. They've both accepted them. We'll see. Might not need them, but for $2 million a pop, we're going to fill out this roster just like that, and we still have some cap room to work with. And here we can see kind of some win-loss with the restricted free agencies. So Fonacecchio will actually get more than what was listed, but Wiseman's going to get a lot less. And those are pretty fair offers, I think, especially considering the savings we found in some other areas. So our team's going to look pretty good. And here is that roster post free agency here. Our top 5 starters, essentially, followed by a pretty decent bench. Wiseman, Fonacecchio, Sasser, and of course the rookie Castle could all come off the bench as our top 9. We got some role players like Anderson Harris, who very well could start the season, maybe kind of help some of the younger players along, fill in for injuries. Such minimal contracts there that that's not a big issue. And then Grimes as well. So these are our 12. Still got some space to maybe add some project players if we want to do that. But otherwise, I think we're getting ready for the season. Taking a look at the player progression, not too bad. Cunningham up, Sasser up, Ivy has a jump, Grimes with the jump. Castle gonna be kind of coming off the bench to start the career, but that's not the end of the world. Gary Harris goes down, but again, just filling out depth. Really like to see the +3 overall with Asar Thompson. That's exciting. Fonacecchio, Siakam, and Anderson all stay the same, as does Duran, and Wiseman a small little bump. So again, pretty deep. This is how I like a team built. Not only are we deep, but we do have really kind of 2 superstars on the team now. Before we start simulating the first season, it looks like Monty Williams is going with a 10-man rotation. It's not too bad. Pretty happy with it. Again, we got some veterans down here who can help out off the bench or for injuries, but pretty deep team. Our starting 5 fits the pace and space system pretty well. All right, opening day, here we go. We're going to sim all the way up to December 1st here, and we'll just keep an eye to see how the team does. First month down, we're at December 1st. The team is 12-6, 90% chemistry, fan interest at 99.2. You saw a lot of injuries that we had to work through. I have the injury sliders maxed out at 100. I feel that's the most realistic thing you can get here. You see a lot of short injuries. I have lowered the amount of injury length a little bit, but that's just my own personal preference. So let's take a look a little bit deeper here. Not too deep. We're still pretty early, and I do want to get through this first season. And 12-6 gets us to the number 4 seed right now. Again, super early, but still, that's really nice. We'd be hosting a home playoff series. Looking at the advanced metrics for the team here, just going to sort through. Again, it's still really early, but we can see some really nice things. Ivy popping really nice. Asar Thompson looking pretty strong. And just, yeah, we're getting really good contributions across the board. We did have a stretch where Cade Cunningham was out, where we lost 3 or 4 games, and that wasn't pretty. But yeah, December probably wasn't as nice as November, but still, 20-12, can't complain. Chemistry's down a little bit, so is fan interest. And luckily, we weren't the only team that was maybe a little bit worse in December, because we have actually moved up to the 2 seed in the East. No sense in trying to fix what's not broken, so let's go ahead and just get through January next. Just keeps getting better and better. 34-16, 100% chemistry. This team is just playing really, really well. Now have the best record in the Eastern Conference after 50 games. 3rd best record in the entire NBA. I'm totally shocked by that. I was expecting maybe best case scenario to be around here. So really, really exciting. Still got 32 games to go, so it's definitely not over yet. Let's now look around the league at the advanced metrics per position. So we're at point guards here. Cunningham coming in 10th for efficient point guards. That's great to see. Our shooting guards are ranked more in the 25th range. So if I just scroll down here, you're going to see them being a little bit lower between Castle and Ivy, 25th and 26th. Small forward, we're back into the top 10 with Asar Thompson this time. So very, very similar to his brother at shooting guard. Power forward, we are 7th in the league, just looking at efficiency rating with Siakam. And then at center, a little bit lower down, we do have some injuries. Duran and Wiseman are both hurt right now. And so just having to kind of play through those injuries, but again, still doing a pretty good job, even at the individual level. And all of this is really in preparation to determine if we want to do anything at the trade deadline. Our team chemistry is through the roof, but we're not perfect. I can't say I was really surprised when I went through all of these different statistics here at the team level, and we are in the top 10 in so many different places. And so you'll just have to trust me on this. I mean, we are looking really, really good. There's only really a few spots that we weren't. So one of them was 3-point percentage. You can see, and again, this is like we're not in the top 10, but hey, if we're looking to improve something, why shouldn't we be? That's what we'd be looking to do. So I think we're like 17th in the league there. Free throw attempts, I'm not super worried about. But I mean, across the board, top 10 offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, we're third. Rebounds overall, we're third. So just everything. Our assists, ninth in the league. So we were a little bit low on steals, so we're not in the top 10 there. Again, I think that was around like 17th or 16th. Same thing with blocks, a little low. Our turnovers was kind of the biggest thing. We have the second most turnovers in the league, so I was a little worried about that. So, like, what am I kind of thinking here is like, okay, well, where are our issues with ball control? And if we can make an improvement there, could we also do something where maybe they could help out with either 3-point percentage or maybe blocking shots, getting steals, that kind of thing? So that's kind of where we're looking because, guys, everything else is just looking really, really good. Second chance points. I mean, even when we go and look at things like, I mean, the bench scoring is in the top, seventh there, so in the top 10. Field goal against percentage, we look at the reverse. We're, again, in that kind of bottom area, which is good. I'm sorry, that was attempts, but if we look at percentage, same thing. I mean, we're at sixth in the league there. So, guys, it's just been really, really awesome. 3-point percentage against, again, fifth this time. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And then we can kind of maybe look a little bit closer at some of the players on our roster to look for maybe is there a weak spot in the chain, and then maybe we can look to make a deal from there. So let's take a look at that. So now we're looking at kind of the team level advanced metrics, and we're just going by position order. So I don't really see any issues with point guard. Sasser's out just for just a couple games more, I believe. Cunningham's been awesome, super, super good player. And you can see Sasser fits our offense pretty well, 13.5. That's not too bad. I'd like it to be closer to 15, but again, he's a backup point guard behind Cunningham. Wright's not playing enough where it really makes a big difference. Ivy's been a little underwhelming. So to me, he remains an option on the trade block. I don't know if I'd want to like wreck the team chemistry. He's progressed really well. He's an 81 overall, 22 years old. But if we really wanted to like make a splash, like he could be a trade piece in that. Grimes has been probably the worst player on the team. He is certainly part of the reason why we're seeing, say, like so many turnovers and things like this. I mean, 15.3 is really, really bad, and he's getting enough minutes that it like kind of matters. And so again, some of these other backups just aren't playing a ton, but he's playing 24 minutes per game when he's in. And so to have this be uh, his estimated wins is negative 1.9. He's definitely somebody who's standing out as being pretty rough. I think Castle as a rookie's playing really, really well. Harris isn't playing enough where it really matters. Asar Thompson's playing well in his second year. Fonacecchio is hurt, but when he's back, he's again just off the bench doing okay. Siakam's been amazing, and the two centers have been playing really well. And again, these backups here just aren't really playing a ton. Thompson's playing a little bit. We had to sign him just because we had some injuries, but to me, it's like the two pieces we could look to move would be Grimes and or Ivy. What's weird though is like Grimes is exactly what I would look to do. A guy who could help with 3-point, a guy who could help with defense. Like he's just not playing up to his abilities right now at all. So there's another part of it's just like, well, maybe he'll have a better second half. Ivy is still a guy, again, really, really nice player. I just don't really know if he's going to be here for the long haul, if he's going to be a fit. And I think a lot of that's because, I mean, Castle is arguably outplaying him as a rookie already. And so do we want to do that here with a playoff run ahead of us? There's a few decisions to be made, but I wanted to kind of paint a overall team picture of where we stand here in February. But let's continue simming. The trade deadline comes up here on February 6th. Let's take a look around the league and see if there's anything out there that might make sense. I started by shopping Jaden Ivey around, and there's a couple offers that I think are intriguing, and this is one of them. The New Orleans Pelicans would be sending us Herbert Jones back. I mean, I love the perimeter defense. That's going to certainly help. He can shoot the three. And it would be a nice upgrade. He would still be the starter, so it would kind of keep some of the pressure off of Castle having to kind of step into this role as a top-seeded playoff team. I think Haywood Highsmith would be an upgrade over Kyle Anderson as a backup power forward. And so, again, it makes some sense. Tristan Thompson's nothing. He's just a guy we signed to kind of just fill out the roster with some injuries, so that's no big deal. It's like Ivy for these two. like I think it probably helps us in the short term with a playoff run, so it makes sense. But I don't know if it's enough to like give up Jaden Ivey. But guys, wait for this. You're gonna freak out when you see this trade offer. The Houston Rockets have offered us Amen Thompson and Jock Landale. And look who else they want. Quentin Grimes. So we would have Amen Thompson and Castle at shooting guard. We'd have just kind of a throw-in center here. I think the problem is he's got a hefty contract, so that we'd have to kind of take on this contract here. But he's still a guy who can certainly contribute. And hey, I mean injuries do happen. It doesn't hurt to have, I guess, a third center here for the playoff run. And the contract's not terrible. It also gives us a little bit of flexibility. We can move one of these centers in the offseason. And so, like, this trade makes a lot of sense. And it does what some of you all were talking about on YouTube of you reuniting the Thompson twins, where we'd have Asar Thompson and Amen Thompson. So let's do it, guys. Let's accept this trade. Let's reunite the Thompson twins. Let's thank Jaden Ivey for his services here. Looks like we're taking a little bit lesser on this trade, but I think the upside is just too much to pass up here. This is pretty cool if we can make this work. And here's what Coach Monty Williams is planning to roll with here. I mean, guys, look at this backcourt now. Oof. I mean, and you got Siakam. We have three superstars on this team. And Landale has actually stepped in to be our sixth man. So it's definitely being utilized here. Can look at how the rest of it, we're in really, really good shape. Again, Wiseman out for a little bit still. This is an interesting trade. Does this make us a contender to win the NBA championship already in the first year? Wanted to quickly show the Rockets side of this trade too. I don't think it's terrible. I still don't really know why they did it, I guess, but Jaden Ivey goes and he's gonna still kind of just be kind of a 1-2 at the shooting guard. He'll be on a rotation, as is Grimes. So my guess is they wanted this to kind of clear out some cap space with that center, with Klingon being on the team. They have that big contract in Adams still, which is just for that one more year. But it kind of, I guess, clears things out because, I mean, Klingon's certainly going to be the future at center for them. So, yeah, I don't know. Crazier trades have happened. They offered it to us, and we're going to roll with it. All right, well, let's do it. We evaluated this team. We made a move that should help us, and we are just going to sim to the end of the season and get to the playoffs. Well, just our luck here. The very first game the Thompson twins playing together, Asar Thompson breaks his left leg, out 8 to 10 weeks. Well, you may have seen it when I was quick simming, but the Asar Thompson injury healed up really quick. It was only like a week or two, but now he's hurt again here, strained right hip. So I don't know what's going on with the injuries. I know our staff's really good at bringing guys back, but it almost seems like magical how they're able to bring players back in this game so quickly. It's kind of odd. I slowed it down this time, and here you can see he's already back about a week later. And I'm really excited to show you our record here at the end of the season. First, MVP Luka Doncic gets that. Probably not a huge surprise. Let's see if any Pistons get some awards this time around. Looking at All-NBA first and second team, no Pistons. Not a huge surprise. We talked about it. It's a really good team without anyone like dominating the league. And so that's really cool. We're looking at the defensive teams here. Still no Pistons. All-rookie team. So Stefan Castle makes the all-rookie second team. And that's it. Interesting. As far as seeding, we are the 1 seed in the East. We finished with a record. Let's take a look here. 56 wins, 26 losses. Far and away the best team in the East. Third best team in the NBA. So Oklahoma and Dallas looking really, really good. 61 wins for Oklahoma, 59 for Dallas with the MVP. So, guys, it's playoff time. I'm likely to take some heat in this video for having my injury slider so high, but now we're at the end of the season. I want to show you why I do this. If you keep it at default, you're going to see just a crazy amount of players with 82 or more games played. Of course, 83 is from a trade of some sort, but you'll have just a ton of guys. And so this helps limit it. You're going to have guys who, we still have a list here, and this is realistic. There's always a handful of guys who do, maybe like one per team or so. We're right about one per team. But after this, it starts to get much more realistic. And so, yeah, on the surface, it kind of looks like, oh my gosh, there's injuries everywhere. But these injuries are really short. As you can see, even like an 8-week injury ends up being like 10 days or something in this game. So it's kind of strange, but I just wanted to show that. Here's how the roster looks heading into the playoffs. We're fully healthy. So also just looking at overalls, we have a lot of really happy players here. This is looking good. This team's going to be pretty good, guys. I mean, it could be tough. If we get to the finals, it's going to be tough. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but really, really happy with what we're seeing here. Got some really nice depth on this team. And yeah, we're ready to make a run. All right, enough suspense. Let's get to this. Let's sim the play-in games here. We'll get our opponents. So we're going to be facing Philadelphia in the first round. Looking around the rest of the league, you got New York Boston matchup at 4-5, Orlando, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Charlotte. Over in the West, Oklahoma gets the 1 seed after the play-ins. You can see there they'll be facing Portland, Sacramento, and Minnesota in the 4-5. 3-6 is Denver, Utah, and then Dallas and New Orleans. So, all right, guys, here we go. Let's simulate game 1 here. More injuries. And I don't like to just auto all of them. I do like to kind of keep a tab on what's going on, but maybe for the playoffs we'll just go with it. But we're up 1. That's good. We're up 2. Heading into Philadelphia, we're up 3. We're looking good in the first round, guys. All right. Sixers win game 4. We win game 5, and we're on to the second round. Let's simulate the rest of this round. All right, it's going to be a tough Boston matchup here. 1-5. 2-3 also make it through. In the West, it's 1-5 as well, and 2-3 as well. So let's do round 2 here. Game 1. Boston wins in Detroit. Huge. Almost a must-win now. Okay, Detroit evens it up. We're headed to Boston. We got to take one of these. We do. So we get home court advantage back. Game 4. Let's see if we can take a stranglehold here on the second round matchup. We do. So 3 wins in a row. Going to game 5. Pistons win it. So we win both series in 5 so far. We're going to face the 2 seed Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. We win 4 in a row against Boston. Ooh, this is getting intense. Who are we waiting on here? Oh, wait, we got to finish the round. Okay, so let's simulate the round. 1-2 in the West and 1-2 in the East. So, all right, it's not gonna be easy. Game 1. Pistons win it. Game 2, Cleveland ties it up. We're headed into Cleveland. Pistons take back home court advantage. Game 4, they tie it up. So for the first time, we're going to go beyond 5 games. Oklahoma, meanwhile, best team in the NBA, has a 3-0 lead against the second best team in the NBA. This is going to be a tough finals if we make it. So game 5 in Detroit. Cleveland wins it. So we got to win 2 in a row, guys. We're going to have to win in Cleveland and then in Detroit for a game 7, or else our season is over. Oh, we've been eliminated. Cleveland gets it done at home. The Pistons' Cinderella season is over. The very next screen, it looks like SGA wins the playoff MVP. I'm assuming that they have won. Oh, they didn't. Okay, I thought that was the end of the round. So let's see who actually wins it. The Thunder do. Not a huge surprise. Now the entire NBA season is over, as the Thunder win it 4-1 over the Cavaliers. Well, guys, it's going to be an interesting offseason because obviously we're a really good team, but obviously we weren't good enough to win. I mean, the team that beat us in 6 got smoked in the finals. So, like, we're close, but not close, or at least not close enough. So I think what we're going to be doing next, of course, is the next offseason. What do we do? And this is where I need your feedback. What does this team need? to get over this final hump. I think everyone can agree this season was a massive success. It far exceeded my expectations for this first season. But now we're hungry for more, right? So tell me what this team needs. What would you do? How do we make this team better? How do we get this team to be not just in the finals next year, but possibly winning it? Remember, we don't have a first round pick in this draft coming up at all. We have a lot of ammunition to move some things around, but it might not be as easy as it seems. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you've liked this video, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'm going to sit back and think on all of this too. I'll be looking at your comments, and I'm really excited to get into the next season here with our Detroit Pistons.